Do you want to increase your win rate just before team of the season? We got the Division 10 to Elite Division series. All the videos are finally uploaded. We show you how to get from Division 10 to the Elite Division basic gameplay. No speed boosting, no mechanic abusing, no Trivella at all, because we want you to get there just with basic gameplay to show you don't need to mechanic abuse. If you want to mechanic abuse, that's fine. We want to show you how to play properly first and then show you what the pros do. What pros do is they used basic gameplay and then they mechanic abuse to get the top 10%. Not the other way around. They don't mechanic abuse first and then learn the basics. We go over complete in-depth tutorials. And don't forget, with my entire series, if you join now during team of the season, remember, if you don't get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That is the nil guys guarantee. That is how sure we are. We've been running this for 4 or 5 years. We go over in-depth tutorials. We also go over pro gameplay analysis where we analyze the full professional player's game. We've got tutorials for everything, undefendable through balls, player locks, precision passing, precision shooting, everything that you could think of that goes beyond my YouTube channel. We've got the full defensive series, which defending series alone, just by watching that, I can guarantee you'll improve. Patreon.com/NilGuys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, just send a message on Discord or send a message through Patreon and I'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Don't believe me? Try it out. What have we got to lose? Less than the price for a KFC meal nowadays. Links down. Okay, let's go over some top 3 skill moves that you can use during Ultimate Team of the Season and Team of the Season in general to improve your win rate. Now, we've got the controls on the screen so you can see exactly how we press them as well. And let's go through the first one, a step over now. You could argue probably the most simplest skill move, but the one that people always get wrong. The reason why is, don't forget, when you're doing a skill move, you're either shooting from left to right or from right to left. So when you do a skill move, it's relative to the way that you're facing. And I'll give you a quick example. So let's say, for example, I do a step over. If I'm facing towards the right-hand side, which would be this way for you guys, then you, for example, if I want to do a step over, for example, to the player's right, I actually aim the step over to the player's right, like this relatively. So do you see? It all depends. Whenever you're doing a skill move, make sure you got the relative direction set. If your player is moving, for example, to the top right, it will be the same thing. If you want to move your right analog stick and do a step over to the right hand side, you actually want to go towards 1 o'clock and then turn it around. You see? So remember that. It's always relative to the direction the player inside the game is facing. So very, very simple. Let's do a step over. One step over people do is they go like this and then they go completely down. Now, the reason why sometimes step overs don't work with people is they do these exaggerated movements. What I would say is the key with doing a step over and maintain the speed boost is you just get the 45-degree. You don't need to do more. You don't have to keep spamming this, keep doing multiple step overs. You don't need to do that. You have to keep going like this. All you want to do is you literally just want to do one step over and you want to glide either to the player's left or to the player's right. You see, I'm just exiting in a 45-degree angle. So I'm here going down the right analog stick and I'm moving from, so I'm going down towards 6 p.m. and I'm moving it to 3 p.m. You see that? So look here, 6 p.m. to 3 and I take one step to the left or to the right. Here, going to 12 to 3. You see that? So 12 to 3. Remember this one. 12 to 3. For the right hand side, and then 12 to 9 for the left hand side. Simple, very, very simple. And of course, you move it into that direction, that direction. Now, as I said, move in a 45-degree angle. If you take these over exaggerated movements, that is when your player would lose momentum. So to maintain the speed boost, what you want to do is you want to do a 45-degree exit. Remember, that's the key thing. So you see a lot of players do it. And the reason why it's also effective is when your player's foot goes around the ball, you're actually protecting the ball. So if someone wants to tackle you, they're going to hit your foot and therefore you will draw a foul. So remember that whenever you're doing a step over, it's very, very important that when you're doing it, you're not holding it too long. You're literally just tapping it and you're just doing a 45-degree exit just to get that speed boost. And then once you have that combination, if you've got the quick step play style and you have rapid, it can make it much faster. Especially if you've got someone that's explosive with the quick step play style, then is where you can really get the speed boost. And you don't have to abuse it all the time. You just do one step over inside the box, take one step, and then take a shot. You don't have to keep spamming it like you see Anders does it in every single touch. You don't need to do that, of course. Then we're going to move. So remember, this skill move, anyone can do it. It's not like exclusive to one player. You don't need no play styles. Very, very simple. Anyone can do that. The next one is a speed boost. Since we're already on that point, hold the L1 button. And then when the player comes towards you, you want to hold the run button to exit. So like this. So you're basically tiptoeing effectively and you're running and you're boosting. Now, the rapid play style is very good for this But what's better than the rapid playstyle is the quick step playstyle. Ideally, a player that's explosive and has a quick step playstyle plus would probably be the most effective with a high acceleration. If you can get someone who's got quick step playstyle plus, rapid, and they've got 99 sprint speed and 99 acceleration, ideal acceleration is important here, you'll get the best possible speed boost. But you can see, for example, it's the way your player moves. So the reason I'm using the L1 button is, number one, you create these small micro movements. So you can manage the ball in the direction you want to exit your speed boost into, but also allows you to maneuver the ball. When you use your left analog stick, you see how the ball rotates with the body. So it's much harder to do a speed boost. You can still do it, it's possible. But with this one, you can basically pretend to go down a little bit. And maybe, let's say, for example, your opponent, you move down and your opponent goes down. And that is your key to then speed boost away. So what effectively you're doing is you're waiting for your opponent to overcommit, or when you see a gap, and then you're speed boosting past. So you basically hold the L1 button, and then you hold a sprint button to then just get that boost of pace. Now, where this works effectively well is if you have a defender. So although I can't probably show you this, I can try actually. I can try to show you this here. Move this player here. It won't really work as in a training arena. But for example, like here, when a player overcommits and makes a tackle like that, that's where it can be effective. Again, anyone can do this, but ideally you want the quick step playstyle. But the reason why it's very, very effective is I just move this player back a little bit and get the ball back as well. You see, what you're doing is you're waiting for your opponent to overcommit, and then you're running into that direction, and then you're exiting away. So not only is it used to beat the players, it's used to give you that speed boost. Now you can cheese it. You can, if your opponent goes into a run and jockey state, this is why I advocate the jockey playstyle, because if you make a mistake or you hold the run and jockey too long, that's when you're susceptible to the speed boost. But if you have a good running speed, a good sprint speed, if you do get beaten, you could recover. You've got the jockey playstyle, you've got a better chance of recovering as well. So the speed boost is very, very effective. Again, all you're doing is holding the L1 button, waiting for a player to come close, and then you're sprint speeding away. And you can also abuse this. You've probably seen some pro gameplay examples. I've gone through pro gameplay examples as well, where this can be very, very effective. Now, one of my most favorite skill moves inside the game is a 5-star skill move. I've talked about this is when the day the game came out. No one really knows about it. If you're part of the Patreon, you would know it's one of the base principal skill moves that we give you. It's the Elastico. Now, Elastico, let's say, is very, very simple. All you want to do is you want to go into the direction that you're facing, and then you want to go backwards like this. So it will be like this. You see that? I'm just going to move it. So if I'm facing from left to right, I'm going. So let's say because my player is facing towards 3 p.m., I want to move my right analog stick, and you can do the reverse variation as well, from 6, and I want to go all the way to 12. Okay, because that, so like here, so 6 all the way to 12, like that. See that? Like that. 1 second. It's because I'm facing at an angle. See, like, make sure you're facing that way. 6 to 12. You see that? And you can also go from 12 to 6. You want the reverse variation as well, which is very, very effective to go into the right angle. Again, if you're facing upwards, where would you be going? I'll have a quick guess. It should be, because you're doing a backwards U. Always remember a backwards U behind you. So now we're going to be doing it from 3 to 9. That's the Elastico. And then the reverse one is from 9 to 3. Very, very easy. But I like this the most is inside the box. If you do like a fake shot stop and then you do an Elastico, it can really, because what is your opponent will be running alongside you, you stop, they stop, and then you do Elastico to give yourself an angle. This is what's used inside the box to give yourself an angle. Where I like to use it a lot of the time is, I'm just going to add some players in here. I like it to beat a player. So what I like to do is, I like to, let's say we have the ball over here, and this, don't forget you do need a 5-star skiller. But let's say something like this. I like to do it first time. You see that? If you're part of the Patreon, you would probably know this, but you can do the skill move first time. Now, what you can do is you can cheese it and almost spin your, you didn't hear this from me, by the way, but you could basically spin your right analog stick and you have no idea what you're doing, and you get that first touch Elastico. So let's say, for example, in theory, let's just say we just try to draw a line of defenders. Let's say your opponent is playing some sort of 4-4-2, and let's say they've got 4 defenders, and let's say it's quite somewhat semi-deep, and also, as you can see, for example, like here, you got some space. Let me see if I can find a better example. Let's just bring the ball a bit closer. Let's say you got the ball with your CDM. Then you could, for example, do a skill move like that. Now, of course, a defensive line is not going to be this tight, but that is when you could do it to create an angle like that inside the box. But again, you didn't hear that from me if anyone asked you. But it's a skill move that I'd recommend. You could use it really well, especially if you got something like the speed boost. Like you can see, look, this is a really bad example. Like you can see, you can cheese it. You see that speed boost I got with Mbappe. You see that? Like the amount. This is what you see a lot of top tier players do. The amount of just abusing they do of this, and like the step over, for example. You just want that small 45-degree angle speed boost, but it early, just to give you that touch, to give you that space inside the box. You know, you might, for example, get the ball, for example, like here, and you see that speed boost there. Obviously, you got to make sure there's space around you. But when you get that speed boost, it can be very effective. The one that's probably the most effective, I would say, is that sprint boost, because you can literally just like, you see a little gap there, and you want to run into it. Just look at that, spam into the gap and run into it. But this one is really cool because if you got no angle to shoot, you can create an angle. But you didn't hear that from me. But if you want to learn more things like this, you can come check out my FC School, patreon.com/nail guides, or click on the link down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. And of course, catch you next time. Peace.